Hey guys, Ambience here. Today I'm going to be showing you how to beat 4020 and get 8,000 points in Ultimate Custom Night. To many newer UCN players, this may seem like a very intimidating challenge. After all, 40 animatronics is a lot to deal with all at once. However, with this strategy, I think you'll find that this challenge is a whole lot easier than you might think. Don't get me wrong, it still requires a good amount of setup and skill, but it can be easily learned even if you're pretty new to the game. This is mostly geared towards players who already have a high score of at least 5,000, but if you don't, I'll still go over the basic strategy. If you want to learn more about some fairly minor animatronics that I won't be covering in depth here, I highly recommend that you go check out my 5,000 point guide afterwards, which is linked in the cards. The first thing that I want to talk about is setup. Your choices on the main menu can actually impact how the game plays out, so it's important to make sure that you're locked and loaded. Select any power-ups that you think you might need, turn off visual effects for a smoother experience, and pick your favorite office. Next, it's time to choose your roster. Personally, I believe that this is the easiest roster for 4020, and it's what I'll be forming a strategy for today. If you deviate from this roster, you might run into some problems not covered here, but I also understand that everyone has preferences. For example, if you're a mobile player, you might find Nightmarian an absolute pain to deal with, and you'd be right about that, by the way. In that case, you can turn on Rockstar Bonnie or someone else that you think you might be more comfortable with. Slight variation shouldn't cause that much of a problem. Anyway, once your setup is finalized, go ahead and load into the night. As long as you have Music Man and Lefty turned off, you can run the power gen and fan for the whole night and make as much noise as you want. I recommend doing this just so you don't have to worry about managing power and temperature. As usual, set the audio alert right here in the duct system, then go to cam 2 and stay there for the entire night. If I haven't emphasized this enough in previous guides, it's very important to stay on this camera for the entire night and not change systems. This will stall the plushie animatronics and prevent certain death. Once you've dropped the monitor, the rest of the night will be a very basic setup that just consists of fending off immediate threats in your office, then doing a cycle to ward everyone off before resetting the ventilation. From this point, only use the monitor to reset ventilation and only when you absolutely need to. The two most common and dangerous threats will be Nightmarian and Ballora, who weren't in the 5,000 point setup and for good reason. These are some of the more dangerous animatronics in 4020 and may take a bit of practice to get used to. For Nightmarian, keep your mouse in one of these two positions at every opportunity to avoid him. If you need to move your mouse to do something, do it quickly and flick away as soon as possible. Examples of this are putting on the Freddy mask, turning from one side of the office to another to deal with Phantom Freddy or Nightmare BB paying Rockstar Freddy, etc. You may also want to mute Phone Guy's call or click Helpy, but keep in mind that you don't actually need to do this as long as there are no noise-sensitive animatronics on. Still, it can be good practice and help you not get distracted. You could also use the heater on Rockstar Freddy instead of paying him. Just remember to turn the power gen and fan back on afterwards. Nightmarian can kill you insanely quickly, so don't underestimate him and always keep your guard up. Speaking of keeping your guard up, watch out for Ballora. Every 14 seconds, she has a chance to appear. When you hear her music, close the corresponding door as quickly as possible because she doesn't give you much time. Obviously, this requires headphones. If you don't have them, just close both doors instead. Once you hear a thud, she's gone. The ventilation goes out completely every 50 seconds, so a good benchmark to reset is at every hour or 45 seconds. 5 ventilation resets throughout the night, never more. To prepare for a vent reset, it's pretty simple. Close the left door for about 2 seconds until you hear a thud, then close the forward vent, flip up the monitor, and reset as quickly as you can. Then drop the monitor afterwards. It's a common misconception that you need to have the left door shut while on the cameras, but this isn't true. As long as you ward off Freddy just before it, you'll be good to go. This helps save a bit of power, which is really helpful on harder modes, and is just easier to execute overall. After a cam flip, including the first one of the night, you should also throw on the Freddy mask quickly. This will ward off Golden Freddy if he appears, as well as Withered Bonnie. Speaking of the mask, also throw it on and stare at Toy Chica or Toy Bonnie if they enter the office at any point. You should also close the side vent after a cam flip to block off BB and JJ. After that, check Nightmare BB. If he's sitting, just ignore him, but if he's standing, flash him with your light before the next cam flip. At this point, Rockstar Freddy may have also activated. Either use the heater on him until he malfunctions, or pay him while taking care to dodge Nightmarian. If you use the heater, again, remember to turn the power gen and fan back on. Next, look at the desk and check to see if Scrap Baby has appeared. If she ever looks up at you, shock her with the button on the desk. If you heard laughter in either door or see eyes peering at you from the darkness, close the door on their faces. The last big threats to cover are Phantom Freddy and Scrap Trap. Phantom Freddy will slowly materialize in your office, either flash your light at him to make him go away, or take the jump scare with the forward vent closed to reset him. If you flash him, be sure that you're on the left side of the office first, as to not accidentally flash Nightmare BB. This should deal with Nightmare Freddy as well. For Scrap Trap, he's pretty simple, just be hyper alert on every 29-second interval and close the side vent until you hear a thud if he starts making a ton of noise and knocks out the lights. There aren't many miscellaneous threats to deal with, just take care of the distractions as you normally do, keep the heat below 90, and don't move the wet floor sign or click the parrot. The truth is, only a few major threats separate this from 5,000 points. With the right strategy, it shouldn't give you much trouble. Sorry if this guide felt very similar to the last one, but yeah, there's really not much new to say here. Well, that's all for now. Follow this strategy and you should be able to beat 40-20 mode and unlock Office 4. If you found this video helpful and are excited for the 50-20 guide, I'm going to be streaming me making it live overnight on May 14th, that's happening right here on YouTube, so mark your calendars and be sure to stop by to see how I'll make my biggest guide ever. To stay up to date on upcoming videos, be sure to subscribe to both my channels and follow me on Twitter. As always, if you have any questions about this guide or anything else relating to FNaF, feel free to leave them in the comments below or to join my community Discord server. By joining the Discord server, you can get personalized tips on any FNaF game from myself, True Player, Shooter25, and a bunch of other FNaF experts and content creators. It's a great community and I highly recommend joining. Thanks to my pal Nephrite for making the thumbnail for this video and stepping in for the usual crew for a minute. He does all kinds of difficult gaming challenges over on his channel, some of which include FNaF games and fan games, so go support it. With that being said, thank you guys for watching this guide, I hope it helped you, and I will see you in the next one.